Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. My name's Katie and I upload book-related videos every single Wednesday, and before we get into the topic of today's video, I did want on a bit of a more serious note to touch on Las Vegas and Puerto Rico, and first just say if you have been affected or if your family or friends have been affected by any of this, my heart goes out to you. So I will be having some helpful links down below for things you can do to help out with Las Vegas and or Puerto Rico, ideally both, but any donation or anything you can do, no matter how small, if we all do it together, can have a decent sized impact. So again, all of that will be down below. So if you are a longtime subscriber of my channel, you will know I've done a ton of Halloween videos on books and movies. In fact, I have a whole playlist on the front of my channel and I'll link it down below where I go over horror, just psychological thrillers, all of that. So instead this year I wanted to turn my attention to Halloween activities. Because at least to me, and let me know if you guys feel this way as well, I feel like when you're younger, everything to do with Halloween is about spooky fun, and then once you get older and you're in college or beyond, it's just about getting drunk. And let me just clarify, I'm not being condescending towards people who like to have a drink, because you guys know I do. I don't want the Halloween season. I know some people call it the fall season. For me, it's the Halloween season. I don't want it to just be focused on parties. I want to think of spooky, fun, weird activities to do. So I'm going to be touching on activities, and I will have timestamps all down below for the different areas if you want to fast forward to which area you live in. I'm going to be focusing on the US of A only because this is where I live and I don't have time to cover the entire world. However, if you live outside of the US or within the US and I'm not touching on weird Halloween fun things to do in your area, definitely leave them down below. I did a ton of research to really just find those kind of strange, weird places you guys might not have heard of. So starting off with the area, I currently live in the Northeast. So my number one place to go, and I'm going to be going there soon, I have been there before when I was little, that is Sleepy Hollow or Tarrytown, New York. Now, if you guys love horror, I'm sure you've heard of or seen the movie or read the book Sleepy Hollow, but I realize that a lot of people don't realize outside of the Northeast that Sleepy Hollow or Tarrytown is actually a real town in New York. They have something called the Pumpkin Blaze that I've been to when I was younger, which unfortunately the tickets are all sold out, and they're also like $30 fucking, which is too expensive, but it's just a very old-fashioned little town. You feel like you're almost taking a step back in time. I actually think I'm gonna take a day trip there one of the days in October during a weekend, so if you want me to film a vlog going there, definitely let me know, but I highly recommend checking that out. Then if you are located in or somewhere near New Hampshire, I've heard that it's the Keene Pumpkin Festival. This has won the Guinness World Record for, I guess, just most pumpkins lit up in one area at one time, but apparently it's stunning, and there are 24,000 pumpkins, which is difficult for me to wrap my head around. I have not been to this one, but if I was within the area, I would definitely check it out. Number 3 is what I'm so excited about, and I'm actually going to do this hopefully during this month with a few friends, and that is the Eastern State Philadelphia Penitentiary, Terror Behind the Walls. All over at least the US, and I'm sure outside of the US, they have all of these events where, think of it like a theme park to be scared, where you just run throughout the woods or you run throughout a corn maze and people jump out with like fake axes and chase you. So I'm not listing those for every state because there are hundreds throughout the US, but I did want to touch on this one just because it takes place either in or near the penitentiary, which if you don't know is a very old historic prison near Philadelphia, which I just think is amazing, so I cannot wait to go. This next one I wasn't going to touch on because it's technically a place I think you shouldn't go, but because it's in the Northeast, and because if I finish this video and you guys were like, why don't you talk about Salem? You have a whole vlog where you went there. That is because as much as I love Salem, I've heard that during October, particularly right around Halloween, it's a nightmare. I've been to Salem multiple times. Again, I have a vlog. I think it's a lot of fun, even though you don't feel like you're stepping back in time, considering the majority of the buildings burnt down in the 1800s. You know, there's the witch house you can check out, but the House of Seven Gables, but those are the only really old historic buildings within Salem, at least to my knowledge. But I have heard that going during October, literally walking down Main Street, you're just shoulder to shoulder with people, and it's just awful. So I would highly recommend either waiting until after Halloween or maybe going during the spring. And now we are going to turn our attention to the South. And for the South, there's a surprising number of just creepy cities that are known for just being very haunted, if you believe in that. So for the South, I don't have specific activities so much as I just do have places. So for number 1, we have New Orleans, which a lot of people consider the most haunted city in the US. There are a number of haunted tours you can go on, or whether that be focused on buildings or cemeteries. And there is something I thought looked kind of fun, but strange, but fun, and that's the New Orleans Vampire Ball, which is on October 29th. But I'm curious, if you're from New Orleans, let me know, is New Orleans Halloween overrated and super crowded, or is it fun? It looks fun online, but I've also never been, so I have no idea. Now, although a lot of people are aware that New Orleans is considered very haunted, some people aren't aware that Savannah is actually considered a very haunted city. I was here not during the fall, during the summer, and I have a travel vlog there, but Savannah quickly became one of my favorite cities in the world. Again, it has a ton of haunted tours, and there are a number of events going on during the fall that are quite creepy. There's the event that's called Yellow Fever in Savannah 1820, and I did some research on this and I'm still not clear if it's a play or what exactly it is, but it's about the outbreak of yellow fever in Savannah in 1920, as the title says. Don't know why I'm repeating it, but if you look into Savannah, there's a ton of stuff like that going on during the Halloween season, so definitely check it out. To end in Louisville, Kentucky, fun fact, I spent an entire week living in a teepee in Louisville, Kentucky. It wasn't fun, although I'm sure Louisville is. I was stuck in the teepee, so I wouldn't know. But there is something that sounds a lot like what's located in New Hampshire. It's called the Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular, and this is a quarter mile of, again, thousands and thousands of pumpkins lit up. And unlike the pumpkin blaze that's in Sleepy Hollow, I'm sure it's not $40. Now we are going to turn our attention to, I know no matter how I describe this area, people are probably going to get irritated with me. I'm just going to say it's not the coasts and it's not the South, but basically the Midwest, Mountain Time, Central Time, just all of that area. First is Terror on Tilson Street in Romeo, Michigan, and this I think sounds so much fun. I'm sure you guys drive around and look at Christmas decorations on houses and how some streets just go crazy. This street sounds amazing and I want to be neighbors here. 30 homes all decide to just go crazy with Halloween decorations. And I want to know, is this part of the HOA? Do they tell people about this before they move in? What if a super religious family moves in and they're anti-Halloween? What happens then? I don't know. Then we have the Emma Crawford Festival in Manitou Springs, Colorado, and I put this one on here just because it is very, very strange. So in 1889, Emma Crawford died of tuberculosis, and she said that she wanted to be buried on the summit of Red Mountain. So ever since 1995, this town likes to pay a sort of strange tribute to her by creating their own coffins and then competing in a downhill coffin race, which I think is very convenient because if you get into some sort of accident, you are already in the coffin. And this is the one within this area I'm personally most excited and intrigued to see one day, and that is the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. So if you're thinking, why would I want to just go get a tour of a plain old hotel? And that is because Stephen King spent one night here, and many say, actually, I think he has said that this was the inspiration for The Shining. So if you are interested in visiting the Stanley Hotel, you don't actually have to spend the night. They do offer tours just year-round for fanatics like myself and you guys who are just obsessed with The Shining. So if you're someone like me who one day wanted to see the Overlook Hotel but then was very disappointed to find out that it wasn't real, this can kind of fill that gaping hole in your heart. And finally, we have the West Coast. I'm starting off with my favorite one, and that is the fact that a little town called St. Helens in Oregon recreates Halloween Town. Again, this is one of those things where like I wonder how this started and whose idea it was for this to happen, because it's not like it's one person's house that does this. It's like in the town square, they have that giant pumpkin that's in the town square in Halloween Town. Also, I do want to know from you guys while we're touching on Halloween Town, are you a Hocus Pocus person or are you Halloween Town? Personally, between those two, I'd have to pick Sleepy Hollow. And if you're interested in some aquatic Halloween fun, there is the Queen Mary Dark Harbor in Long Beach, California. Now again, this is similar to one of those typical things where you run around a scary maze and people jump out at you. However, this one is located on the Queen Mary. And I think especially considering most of these types of things that are run are just outside, which I do think sometimes works like in a corn maze or in the woods, I think having this set on a boat is just such a good idea. I've read a lot of reviews where it says that because you're on an actual ship, it's just a much more immersive and fun experience. And finally, we have the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California. This house was built by the widow of essentially a gun tycoon, so she inherited all of this money. Her husband had died, her daughter had died, so she was all alone, very depressed. A psychic told her to build this house and just keep on building it as a means of welcoming kind spirits and also warding off evil ones. So it's apparently very disconcerting because she kept just adding on and building this house until she died. So it's very easy apparently to get lost in the house. There are stairways that lead to nowhere. There are doors that you open to just blank walls. Just very eerie and disconcerting, and I would be all about that if I was in the area. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please comment down below what are the scary fun activities to do in your area, and also please let me know if you'd like to see a travel vlog for Sleepy Hollow, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.